All right, section 5. This is the final section here. At least I think it is. I'm not actually sure. But we're going to be looking at adaptive physical education, adaptive PE. And this is something that's kind of hard to tell on probably on the screen here. But I actually do have a physical disability. I have a disability that affects my hands, my arms, and my shoulders. And so this is kind of a pretty close to home type section for me. Looking into specifically, what adaptive measures are being taken, because I know when I was in PE, there really weren't that many adaptive procedures taken to help me feel like I was a part. Now, I guess we'll start off with the Hall of Shame section. I think it's good to have some of these games eliminated. Red Rover. I don't know who came up with that game, but it was on the Hall of Shame, and it damn well should be on that list. It is an awful game. I remember getting the wind knocked out of me playing that at the after-school program that I went to. Now, as far as some of the other games like dodgeball, the very, very traditional forms of dodgeball, in my opinion, should be on that list and should be eliminated. Just chuck a bunch of balls at everyone and see who can remain standing. Yeah, no bueno. That's not great, and it does hit the points that the article mentioned, or that the article mentioned, where it does not support any curriculum, and it makes the weak feel weaker and the strong feel vindicated and better. However, I think there are variations of dodgeball, that I guess I don't feel should really fall into the Hall of Shame category. I think the goal here, now, dodgeball's a lot of standing around, and in an actual PE class setting, you only have 30 minutes, at the most with your kids, and so yes, you need to get them moving and active and doing a thing right away as quick as you can. And get that PE started. However, in some areas where you have more time, dodgeball can be a great team building thing. I think that's one thing that the Hall of Shame and all of these different types of activities where they're a little bit less competitive. I think. I don't think necessarily that competition is inherently bad, which a lot of these Hall of Shame things fall into that category of competition is inherently bad. In my opinion, competition can be dangerous if not taught well. Now, can you have a horrible teacher do one of these Hall of Fame games and it probably be fine? Yeah, probably. They're pretty foolproof. However, a game like dodgeball, or Red Rover, if it's not regulated well, which I don't think Red Rover is able to be managed very well. When it's not managed well, it can be really bad and really. I moved my camera up here so I don't look like I'm staring at the ground. But it can be really bad. Because it does reinforce those things. But if you have, so me as the director of a daycare, and it's a pretty small one, so what I tend to do is we do play dodgeball. We play dodgeball. It's a certain form of dodgeball. It's called scattered ball. I'm sure you probably have heard of it. But I've modified it in a way that teamwork is the primary goal, and having a singular winner is nearly impossible. I've changed it in a way that, there's 1,000 ways to say this game. and there's 1,000 different versions. But my version is you can only get up if the person that got you out gets out, and then the only way to win is to be the last person standing who got literally everyone else out, which is just generally unlikely. It helps to create teams, and also it helps to not create teaming, right? Where there's just a group of kids targeting another group of kids. It's kind of wishy-washy, but all of this to suffice to say that I don't think competition is bad. I think some competition can be good and can be useful in a physical education setting. However, if not regulated correctly, it can be detrimental and can work the exact opposite of what PE is supposed to do. As far as the section on understanding aspects of adaptive physical education, again, I feel like, you know, I have a pretty interesting perspective here, being that I do have a physical disability. I understand, like, I have had to by myself figure out how I can do things. You know, and honestly, most of the people I'm around, including all of the kids that I'm around, as well as all of my friends when I was growing up, you know, most of them forgot that I had a disability, which, you know, it was kind of my goal, right? But it shouldn't have been in the eyes of a teacher. It should have been, oh, what can we do to make him feel like he's participating? Well, I wasn't that good at throwing a ball, right? I couldn't jump rope. You know, all these different things that involved a lot of upper skeletal-musculatory movements, I struggled with, and I couldn't get them. And so a lot of these different activities, you know, and suggestions as to how to make sure that you are treating these guys the same, and making sure that they're, you know, I guess I feel like I have a personal connection here. And I did agree with all of the, with most of the information in there. There's a few sections that I feel kind of beat around the bush. Specifically, there was one section on evaluation. I think it was very vague, and it didn't really describe how to meaningfully evaluate someone with a physical disability. And I mean, I just always got, you know, they just pass, you know, right? Because they're not gonna tell, they're not, like, I never had to actually climb a rope. I know a lot of people did. I think that's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to climb a rope. That doesn't, like, what do you need to climb a rope for? My fiance had to climb a rope, and she was the only one that actually made it to the top. But, like, grading me because I couldn't do something was obviously, like, a red flag. And so how do you meaningfully grade them? I don't think that the article really provided that much more information on how to meaningfully grade them. But I think, you know, my perspective on this, what information was I able to get from the two websites, was just kind of affirming things that I kind of already do, which is a lot of basically just doing how I live my life, right? Which is, okay, this thing obviously isn't working. Let's find a new way to do it, right? And the things that I've been able to learn to do, and the things that I hope to eventually teach kids to do, you know, I don't have barriers. I can't put my hands above my head, but I do more in a day than most people do. You know, like, I throw myself down a mountain on a bike, even though I can't put a box on a high shelf, right? So it's just kind of pushing that, you know, you might not be able to do some things, but you can certainly do all these other things. And just because you can't do that doesn't mean you can't do these, right? Pushing that on on all the kids, regardless of whether they have a physical disability or not. You know, so I hope to push that as far as I can. Great activities online. I looked at those. And, well, actually, let's see, was that the Great Activities Online website? The link did not work for me. I don't know what was wrong with that link, but that link did not work. That was the one that did not work. Teachers Pay Teachers, obviously great website for just getting valuable information. As far as adaptive stuff, they had a lot of information that I think was really valuable. Just as a, they had this first page for adaptations for specific activities. I really like this because this shows how many different ways you can change something in order to make it easier for someone to do. Maybe not easier, but make it so that they're able to do it, right? So rules, prompts, and cues, these are important, and something that I did not previously particularly think about, making sure that everyone can understand. But like things like, so beyond these first 5, right, it has bowling, basketball, golf, soccer, softball, volleyball, and tennis, right? And all these different sections show you different ways that you can vary and differentiate your instruction. I think this is really helpful and should be printed everywhere. Because if you're bowling, you can't expect everyone to use the same bowling ball. I mean, I think it's kind of funny, one, that bowling is on there. But using 2 hands instead of 1, something that simple, right? Some people I feel like would not be able to come up with. Use a partner is kind of weird. I don't particularly see how that would work. But all of these different things like softball, use Velcro mitts, just things that make it a little bit easier and make those kids with disabilities or honestly anyone, right, that is struggling to do the activity, try to make them feel included by changing it just a little bit and allowing them to then participate. I think that's something that's really important, and I definitely hope to put into teaching. So that is section 5.